Hi, friend.
Hi, friend. Are you ready?
Ready for what?
To level up.
Okay, girl, let's get started. Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of Level Up with Raman and Alysha.
On today's episode, we'll be talking about respecting others' choices and decisions that you might not necessarily agree with.
Yeah, so basically, Raman and I are very strong headed opinion women. And, we just sometimes don't agree with our friends members' decisions. And, we do try to respect them and the decisions they make if they don't listen to us. But let me tell you, we are fuming inside. Fuming? Fuming? Fuming. Fuming.
Fuming.
Fuming inside that they didn't listen to us. Because we're very much trial and error kind of people. And we're like people who think everything out. And to the point that I think we even go as far as making pros and cons lists, mapping out our lives, even if it's something as simple as changing your career, a business decision. We don't do anything really rash in that sense, but we definitely think it out. But we do have friends and family members that will just say what's on top of their head in that moment and either don't follow through or don't think it through.
Yeah. And it's hard, right? And I feel like everybody has that person in their life that, has made choices or decisions that you don't necessarily agree with. And it's tough because when do you hold back and respect the other person's decision or choice? And when do you, what the hell is that?
And I was gonna, why are you talking? I was gonna put my phone here so I don't have to hold it.
Sorry, guys. I'm watching Alysha pull out this big thing that I'm like, what is this? But sorry, back to what I was saying. It's, when do you know to respect the other person's choice or decision and be 100% supportive, or let them know that, you don't really agree with their decision, or maybe you don't think it's a good decision or choice for them. So, it sucks because you want, just like we wouldn't want somebody telling us what to do with our life and with our choices, and it's the same thing for other people, right? Okay, Alysha, it looks great. Alysha has this phone holder. It looks like one of those crazy podcast mics. You know what, it looks great, Alysha. I don't know where you pulled this from, but it looks great. I wish I could show everybody a picture of this right now.
My arm hurts from holding the mic phone. Okay.
Okay, well, it looks great. But Alysha and I are kind of opinionated. We, like what Alysha said, we're very strong headed in terms of we're not going to do something rash. And you know what? A perfect example is I can actually use us as an example. There have been so many times that Alysha will be like, oh, everybody has great ideas, right? Alysha will be like, Raman, we should do this or something like that. And I have to sometimes just give her reality. I'm like, no, Alicia, this is not happening. We're not doing this. And she's like, but why? And I'm like, realistically speaking. So we get realistic, right? So,
Yeah.
but with each other, we can do that. We can kind of when we have ideas, give each other our opinion and realistic view. And then there have been times and Alicia's like, yeah, you're right. I was just getting excited. And, that happens too. But there are times when people are coming to you with their final decision or their final choice, or I've decided to do this, or this is what I'm going to do. And at that point, it's kind of do you just respect that person's choice or decision, or do you tell them honestly what you think about it?
I think it's also when they do come and tell you something else, it's they were telling you something for so long that for the last 2 months, I'm going to do this. And then all of a sudden the game has changed. And you've
Yeah.
just been brought into the loop. And I think that also pisses Raman and I off because in that sense, it's kind of well, you've been saying this for so many X amount of days or months. And now all of a sudden you're doing this, which is the complete opposite of what you've been saying. And it's kind of where's the logic behind it, right? And it's not like you owe us an explanation or anything like that. We're not saying you owe us your reasoning in description or detail. We don't need that. We're not the judge. We're not judging your life, but
we are.
but we are. Yeah, we care about you enough to do so. Because if you care enough to tell us, then you obviously want our feedback or you want to know what we think. But the thing is, even when we do tell those people what we think, it's kind of what they do with that information. And I feel like a lot of people just let it through one ear and out the other. So I had a really difficult time when I got married to Amit because like his family, like my new sibling in laws and stuff, I didn't agree with all their life choices. And I felt like being the eldest, sister in law, whatever, I felt like I could, teach them so much, lead them, save them time, whatever, right? I'm a control freak at that point.
Yeah.
And it took me time to realize that my sister-in-law, Rimpy, that you guys have all heard from, she's someone who, she kind of like, she goes by her own tune for sure.
Yeah.
And I had to like, the sooner I had realized that, the sooner it had saved our relationship as well. That, at first I would tell her, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. And Rimpy is just like, nah, like I'm gonna do it
Yeah.
my way. And she is that
Yeah.
type because she's a Pisces and they're a little crazy. And so she did end up doing, she's the type of person who needs to try it herself to know either she's going to succeed or fail, but she's all for the experience. And that's what
Yeah.
I had to learn. It's not going to make her like, it's not going to make her regret it. It's not going to make her like put a stall in her life or like put a
Mhm.
block in her roadmap. It won't do any of that. If she's on this road to do whatever, but she wants to add these things to try along the way, she knows her end goal is that. But she knows
Mhm.
that she can try all these million things, but it's not going to impact her end goal. She just wants the
Yeah.
experience. And that's something I had to learn about her. And I've accepted that, I had to accept that, like, listen, and I say to her now too, this is what I think, but I know you're going to go do A, B, C, D, and then come up with your own shit. So go ahead. And that's what it comes down to. So, there's just, you need to know your audience. You need to know your friends and family members. You need to know how they're going to reciprocate it. We all
Mhm.
have that one friend that will be like really pissed off with the feedback or coaching and take it as an insult. We also have the friends that will really appreciate it. Or we
Mhm.
just have the one that will just cut you off and be like, fuck this bitch.
Yeah, yeah, that will happen too. I know. So I guess like you had to learn to, like not in every situation will we need to give our opinion or kind of like give our 2 cents, and everybody is different and will do things their own way, right? So which I completely respect as well. And I think it's great that sometimes people need to find their own road, because you and I can be kind of like control freakish sometimes, and it with people that we love, right? And it's honestly because we love them and we care for them and we want to see them do great and be the best version of themselves. And I think that's why you and we get a little hard on people that are close to us, because we'll be like, why are you doing it this? Why can't, you could do this or whatever the case is. But you and I have also had to learn to kind of step back and allow people to kind of choose their own road and figure things out in their own way. And yeah, it's sometimes it is challenging to hold back what we want to say or what we think, and realize that it's not about us, it's about the other person. So I think that's when respecting other people's choices and decisions come in from. Like, we wouldn't want somebody coming in and telling us like they don't realistically, yeah, if somebody came and told me like that, oh, I'm not like, I think what you're doing is like not great, or you shouldn't do this or whatever, I'd be like, fuck you. Who are you to tell me what to do and stuff like that? And I think it goes the same way. I feel like everybody feels that too, right? You kind of have to step back and realize it's not about you, it's about them. And you can, like what you said, give your, I think you can also do this, or you can give your either expertise or your opinion, but ultimately you have to give support, right, to the other
Yeah.
person's choices.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. So, Raman, how do you handle the situation of friends or family members that are irrational when it comes to decision making?
Oh my God. Okay, can I give you an example of something that like I have to hold back on a lot?
Yeah, please.
So a lot of, including you, a lot of people around me are like shopaholics, right? And
I'm not a shopaholic, Raman. We've talked about this. This cannot be online.
okay,
These are
okay.
offline topics.
This is like recovering shopaholic. Okay, a lot of people around me though are big shoppers, right? And the amount of times um people will try to justify their purchase, right? And and I do this all the time. Like there was something that Sister Karen wanted to buy, and she was just looking for justification to buy
The
it.
wagon.
Not the wagon. The wagon was actually, when she was buying it, I didn't think she needed it as well, but I had to, it was one of those moments where I had to just hold back and be like, this is not my purchase. This is somebody else's purchase. So it happens to me, it happens to me a lot when it comes to people shopping around me, like justifying irrational purchases. So there was something that I don't even remember what it was that she wanted to buy, and it was going to cost like a couple of hundreds of dollars. I think it was a new vanity for her makeup thing. And I'm like, and at the end, I was like, cool, like you want a different color. That's fine. But ultimately, like when she asked, do you really think I need one? I was like, no. I was like, be honest with you, I think it will be a waste of money. You have a beautiful vanity already. Like, I know you want a different color, but maybe wait a bit and see like what our clientele is like, by the end of the summer, see how busy we are and stuff like that. And then if you feel like you can justify your purchase, makes sense. But right now, like with COVID and stuff, we haven't been getting a lot of like hair and makeup bookings. So it just wasn't justifiable for me because I'm like, your vanity is already so beautiful. Like, why need to spend the extra hundreds of dollars? So I go through this a lot when people shop around me and they try to justify, you've tried to justify purchases too,
I don't
you
know what
know.
you're talking about.
Yeah, because I respected your your decision. That's why you don't know. But like it's something that like I have to hold back because I feel like if I didn't, then yeah, people would get like really pissed off at my opinions about it. So, it's one of those
And
things that
Raman's
I have
very
to,
blunt. She will
yeah,
just tell you straight up, like, no. And she
like
doesn't do, yeah, there's no sweetness to that.
yeah. But I realized like I can't, there are some things that I will straight up and be like, I don't think you need this. Like
Hmm.
it's just, flat out. But we all we get our little joy when we do our little shopping. And like I have a Shein order open right now, right? Like on a tab that I'm waiting to order as well. So, I understand the joy of shopping too. So that's why I'm like, I really have to keep my opinion to myself
Oh,
when people do purchases, like any purchases. I was like, Raman, just shut up. Just shut up.
like, Raman, you really need another dress?
I do need another dress, okay? I do. I really do. And I need it like before summer ends. But yeah, so I mean that's something that I feel like that's an example that I can think of that I
Hmm.
really have to. And then yeah, you and I are opinionated. We are people come and talk to, they ask for advice and stuff like that. So we're very open with like helping out our friends, our family, even strangers. Like I feel like at any point, like if anybody wanted advice, we're kind of there to give it to them. But then, yeah, like then when they do something else, and then we're like, well, this is not what we talked about.
Exactly.
And that's when it kind of, I feel like we have to respect the other person's um, road to their journey or their road to their, whatever they are trying to achieve and do.
Yeah, totally. I agree with you 100%. I think, it just comes down to respect. You're right. We just have to respect that everyone beats to their own drum in life. They're going to do what they're going to do. And there's not much we can really say or impact them, right? We can only suggest support, and that's what you can do for your loved ones. You don't want to be that person that they feel like they can't come to anymore.
Mhm.
Because at the same time, you also don't want them to go to people they can't trust. You want them to be able to trust you and come to you. So
Yeah,
I feel like there's
100%.
so many factors to it too. But I think it's also the way you say it, and maybe not be so negative when you tell someone no and shut them down and say, I think that's a terrible idea. I think it's kind of like how you would approach the situations, what Raman and I do. We say it in the nicest way when we want to.
Mhm.
And
But
we
sometimes you
just,
have to be blunt with a close loved one. You have to be blunt.
you do. And you and I still don't do that. But I do think what needs to happen sometimes is just the way you deliver the message. You can still be blunt but nice about it, and then maybe give another alternative or say, let me help you figure this part out, or why don't we work on it together.
Yeah. I just while you were talking thought about like the perfect example. So, and I'm sorry to all the people that are named Karen. This is not against you, but just using the example of like the Karens in the world, how like no Karen specifically, but all the Karens in the quote unquote Karens in the world, that are known for, like, I swear, like the whole meme about Karens is because they're just giving their 2 cents or opinion in things that they're not involved in, right? So, don't be a Karen, right? Like, I feel like there's so many things that people like so unnecessarily involve themselves in other people's business just to give their 2 cents or just because they don't agree with it. And I'm just like, when I see these things on Instagram and I'm like, don't you have other things to do? Like, you're spending so much time and effort into this. Like, there's people that will like literally take time out of their day to like go, you know, I don't know, like protest against something that like, is like, I've seen like protests against like literally things that are like inhumane. And I'm like, you literally want to take your time out of your day. Like, first of all, do you not have a job? Like, what are you doing with your day? And you want to take all this time out so people can get your negative opinion or you think you can get your voice across and stuff like that. And not understanding that, like, everybody is different. Everyone is going to have different choices and decisions to make for themselves. If we were all the same, then what fun would that be, right? And
Exactly.
you like, just because you don't agree with that other person's opinion or decision, it doesn't mean that you need to go set war or like cause fire and stuff like that. Like, I just think it's hard for people to keep it in. I think that's what it
Yeah,
comes down to.
I think so too. That's what it mainly comes down to. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, like people have the remember we were and we actually, I'm trying to think, we had somebody tell us that their family member is like really opinionated and like, um you know remember that story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
And
like to the point where you feel like you can't like some people do take opinion people offensively.
yeah, and it's just kind of like, so we heard a story. It's not anybody we know personally, but we heard a story about a person who's like really opinionated and stuff like that, and how the family like doesn't even really want to bring that person around too many people or an intimate family dinner, because if someone says something that she does not agree with, she's gonna bluntly make a comment or have an opinion about it or start a argument or start some sort of conversation that's just like not necessary, especially at a dinner table when everybody is together and you're just trying to like laugh and enjoy each other's company. But now it's like this person is so opinionated that people don't want to be around them. So it's like,
Exactly.
when do you know to like shut your mouth and keep it inside? And that's what I think that's what people struggle with. People struggle with, um how the thing that I always say, like, people listen to respond, not to understand.
Yes.
I feel like those are those people. Like, they're just listening to respond. And sometimes you can listen and have an opinion about it and not say anything.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Yeah. And I mean, you're very opinionated, right?
I am.
And,
And I think a
and
lot my mom raised me and my dad raised me to be opinionated but respectful. But I know growing up a lot, especially being in the South Asian community, a lot of people didn't like that I was outspoken. Like
oh, yeah,
family members.
100%. The aunties.
Yeah, even in my own family.
Oh my God. Another great example that I can think about, like where I've literally had to hold my tongue my whole life, is like the Indian family dinners and stuff like that. Because some auntie will always, I swear, always say something to piss me off.
It's true.
Like, whether it's, when are you getting married? Oh, you've lost weight. Oh, you've gained weight. Oh, how's your job? Oh, how much money do you make in your job? Like,
I
so many things,
Inappropriate questions.
so many things. And I'm just like, so for a very, very, very long time, obviously one of the main questions we grow up hearing, I swear, like, I wasn't even old enough to get married, but I've been hearing like, when are you getting married, for a very long time. And I held my tongue. I was like, obviously, I had an opinion about it, especially when people try to make their kids look so nice. But I'm like, but girl, I like follow your kids on Instagram and I know what they're up to, like holding your tongue in so many situations where people have tried to make their kids look like, you know, those parents that try to go to family dinners and they're like, my kid, like, he does this, he does this, he does this, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, yeah, I also know what he does.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
social,
we
like there's
see
things you don't know that he does that I know. So calm down. So
it.
there have been so many situations where I've had to hold my tongue because I just want to be like, yeah, your daughter's like half porn star on Instagram or something like that, but like I'm not going to say anything. And so many times I could think about that I've had to hold my tongue. But then I remembered there's this one aunt. She did piss me off to a point where I did kind of snap and I did
Mhm.
kind of like I stopped holding my tongue back with her,
Mhm.
because I would just hear, like, I feel like every time I saw her, it's like, when are you getting married? When are you getting married? Blah, blah, blah,
Oh.
blah, blah. So I stopped holding my opinion with her and I started kind of like getting kind of feisty and kind of like a little bit rude. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm just like, okay, you pay for my wedding then, or like you pay for my house because clearly that's all you care about is attending
Yeah.
the wedding. So why don't you fund my wedding or blah, blah, blah. So I did start because I feel like with some people, like then you don't stop and then
Yeah.
you snap and then you're like, okay, I don't agree with your opinion, like this is, this is how life works for me, and I have other ambitions and I have other goals and I have other things I'm trying to achieve more than just get married. And yeah, like I had to snap at her a couple of times before. I don't know, I haven't seen her in a while because of COVID, but I'm pretty sure when I see her she's still going to ask me the same question.
I hate that. And I think there's a difference between being opinionated and ignorant. Like
Yeah.
when it's coming from the other side. Like that's just ignorance at its finest.
Hmm.
And it kind of like growing up, I always heard this: we represent like our parents. So whatever
Yeah.
we say, whatever we do represents our upbringing. And it kind of makes you think, okay, like you can't even tell off a lot of people because you're like, at the end of the day, I'm connected to my parents and I don't want to make them look bad either. But
Hmm.
it's kind of like, why is this person allowed to say this to me? Who are they part of? Like,
Yeah.
who do they represent?
100%.
Right? So
100%.
it's so like backwards too. And I don't think it's just our community. I think it's every community that goes through that. Because the
Yeah.
amount of stories I've heard from people who struggle when they're trying to get pregnant or get married or, just doing their thing. Like, we don't
Hmm.
need to all beat to the same drum in life. We
Yeah.
all have our own tune. And I think that's so great because if we were all alike, then, we'd all be doing the same thing. And there wouldn't
Exactly.
be all these innovations and all these new adventures and new lifestyles to try, right? So I just think people really need to think outside of the box. And that's the problem with
Hmm.
society. They don't think outside of the box. And I think our generation is really going to show people that no, we're not going to do it. And we already are. We're getting
Hmm.
we're getting married later. We're having no kids or having kids later.
Hmm.
It's already starting to change. We're not like the baby boomers whatsoever.
Though, okay, I have a question for you because you just mentioned kind of something really important there. Do you feel like the older generation has a harder time respecting the younger generation or our generation's decisions and opinions more so just because it's like a lot of it is not something they agree with, right? Like the whole like getting married, having less kids, and they ask a lot of inappropriate questions, and I feel like they might have kind of more opinions about us, and then they voice it too, and it's not even about respecting it. They voice it and they are pretty blunt about it. Like our parents can be ruthless when they don't agree with our opinion, but it's like it kind of sucks for our generation because it's kind of like it's the same thing. It's like respect my decision, like respect what I'm trying to do, like just leave me alone, let me find my own path.
Yeah, I do. I do. I don't know. I feel like my mom always says, wait till you have a kid. And that's what I feel like a lot of people say. And so when it comes to the parent side, yeah, like I guess I'm going to have to wait and see. You probably do have dreams or a plan for your child that you hope for them to have the best. And then
Yeah.
your child decides to show you something different. And it comes back to like, are you willing to adapt to change? Are you willing to try new things? And that's what it really comes down to. But then I don't, my
I know, now that I'm
grandparents,
thinking about it, I don't think I would respect my kid's decision. I'd be like, listen, child,
yeah, like this is how it's done, right?
this is how it's done. And
And
there's
so
no other way.
when I think about even my grandpa's like 85 now.
Mhm.
And, he's been through a lot. He's done a lot, and he was like the first settler of our family here. He's at the point in his life where he tells you how it is. Like, he doesn't even care. He doesn't care if it
Joke.
hurts you. This man will text us and be like, "This is what I think." And like, he's pretty blunt, and he uses this emoji, the wilting rose flower. He
No
uses that emoji a lot. Like, it's this flower that's dying, and I don't think he understands, but I think he does because he uses it in the right context. But
joke.
he tells us how it is, and I think with age, like, I think it honestly comes down to when, as you get older, you've obeyed it by society, you've been so respectful all this time that you get to a point where you're like, fuck it, like,
Yeah,
what's the point? And you just speak your mind. You just say it as it is now. And maybe
I
Raman and I
guess.
will be able to be that way when we're 80, old and gray, and be like, you know what? You're wrong.
I can see that. I can see that. I'll be like that grandma on the porch, like pointing at the little kids, like "Get off my lawn," or you know,
While you're on
um,
the phone with all of us
yeah,
telling us what they're doing.
yeah. Like, what are okay? Honestly, yeah. Like, I mean, we do it. We judge people's. We see kids and like stuff, and we make an instant like remark, and it's like, what the hell are you up to with your life? Or like, what are you doing with your life? Like, I just want to tell this kid what's up, or like, I want to have a talk with their parents and stuff like that. And there's just so many things that we hold back that, yeah, I can see myself being like old. I'll be like, listen, I'm golden now. Like, I can say what I want, or I'll do what I say. Cause I feel like with age does come experience, right? So that's why like people always value older people's experience and their opinion, and I feel like older people feel like they've lived long enough, to have an opinion and some actual expertise and some real life experience that they can share with the younger crowd. Like every time I think about um like meeting somebody even in high school or something like that, right? And if I
Yeah.
see that they're, just partying and not studying, and they're not taking kind of life seriously, like I am that person that at this point, like I feel like I'm the grandma in the situation, right? I'm like, listen, I've been there, I've done that. Let me tell you what's up and what you should be doing. Like, have fun, but this is what you need to focus on. So I feel like in that sense, I wouldn't hold back
Yeah.
with sharing my opinion. I would feel like it is something like just like how older people feel like they can share with age and experience. I feel like I would want I because when I was younger, I would have loved for someone older to give me some advice,
Yeah.
right? To give me like, hey, this is what I did and stuff like that. And I didn't really have anybody like that. So that's why when I always see someone younger, I'm like, okay, let me give them some life advice, Here I am
Exactly.
thinking I'm so much older. But I
Yeah.
mean, in terms of people that are around us every day, our life, our coworkers. Like,
Mm-hmm.
haven't we had so many situations where coworkers and like coworkers are like, your work friends, right? So you have your friends and your family, and then you have your work friends. And sometimes, they don't make the right choices. And it's kind of the
No.
same thing, right? These are people you see every day, and it almost like makes you angry sometimes,
Yeah. It's like, I
right?
wouldn't make that decision.
Yeah, like what are you doing with your life? But then you have to respect that person's decision and their choice because you never know. It might turn into like something beautiful.
I like that. Yeah. That's how I'll look at it next time someone I think is a complete idiot with the decision they're making.
Like when you see like a really ugly car color and you're like, what was that person thinking?
Yo, honestly, sometimes I'm just like, what was the point of buying this very nice car?
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, so overall, what we kind of want to convey today is that, we do have to respect everybody's decision and others' opinions, even though you might not agree with it. And although you might not, kind of be in the same line with it. But, we do have to realize that it's not our life, it's their life. If there's something that you can say as like provide actual facts or actual advice that will be valuable to whatever they're trying to do, definitely be a good friend or a good, family member, good coworker, and give them that help, but also respect that this is not your life, this is their life.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more with you.
Yeah. But if your friends are like trying to do hard drugs, like, no. cut
Yeah,
it
yeah.
off.
Shut that shit
There's
down.
things where like I have had to like put my 2 cents in, and I'm like, no, 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 no.
Yeah, like this is just a bad
Yeah,
decision.
now you're just being an idiot. There
Yeah,
will be situations like that where somebody will tell you something where you'll be like, yeah, now you're just being an idiot.
exactly. And you can. So remember, if it comes to life and death, then you really should speak up. Don't ever not speak up.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks so much for listening and tuning in. We hope we let those that are like Raman and I feel a little better and that you're not alone. And then those that are on the other side, we're not judging you. Okay. We love you.
Yeah.
But other than that, if you're not already following us on Instagram, please do at Level Up with Raman and Alysha. And if you have any concerns or stories you'd like to share, email us at ramanandalysha@gmail.com.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.